What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Danny the Bull back with another live stream here with the homie Ron's Crypto Therapy. What's going on, man?
What's up, Danny? Thanks for having me on again.
Thanks for joining. This was kind of a last minute thing. You reached out. It's funny because I was driving home and I was thinking I need to have Ron on again. Maybe I'll reach out, see if he wants to come on this week. And then like 10 minutes later, you messaged me or something saying I can hop on. I'm free.
Yeah, man. It's just so much swirling around about this ETF, and it's a topic that I'm fairly educated on. So, with that being kind of like the main point of focus and everybody in the market right now, thought it's a good thing to come up here and talk about it and kind of set some facts straight.
Yeah, we already have 21, 22 people in here. Let's just welcome them in. We got I'm a Rich Man Soon says, imagine finding crypto in 2026. That would suck. Yes, it would. Justin, we're going to talk about TET later. I'm going to start that question, Justin. SoCal in the house. What's good? Yes, hit the like and share. Smells fun in the house. A lot of familiar faces here.
Yeah, smells fun, my buddy.
Yeah, good guy. Mario C up in here. B Dubs in the house. What's good, B Dubs? Davey Boy. Marcus Jones in the house.
What's up, Marcus?
Zach. Yeah, Audible in the house.
Yeah, man. Everybody, whole squad's here.
Everyone's here, man. It's good. And there's a lot to talk about, like always. So let's start with all of the ETF news. We had a bit of a shakeout today, man. Every time like I see these like flash crashes, I envision a storm that's like in my mind, I envision a storm that's passing overhead, with dark clouds and like lightning and stuff. And eventually it passes and like, bright skies clear up. But what did you make of that, volatility this morning?
It didn't surprise me too much. I look at it. I'm a price action guy. I look at the candles, and yesterday's candle body did close above the local high, but the wick was kind of long. There was still a lot of reasons to be overall bullish, but it just seems like when there's reasons to go short, there's reasons to go long, and there's a lot of indecision. That kind of tells you it's in a range, and this is the kind of things that you see in a range. And it liquidated. I believe I saw like 600 million at that week low, and so why that's important is, if a lot of traders looked at it yesterday like it was breaking out of an ascending triangle pattern, then they're setting long orders and they have to find a place for their stop loss. So most traders are greedy. A lot of them are anyway, and they want a shorter stop. And if you look on where that would have been to what got taken out today, and maybe looking over to the left a little bit on chart, it might not look like a big difference. But when you're trading and it's all about risk reward, and make no mistake about it, traders run the market. Traders and bots that are trading all that stuff, that they run the market. So it does make sense to them at the time to put the lower stop. So to come out and clear all that is great, because now, say that was 600 million, and who knows what it's leveraged at, each individual position. So now as it goes back up, that's not billions of dollars for those people having to close out their longs. So it didn't surprise me. It's how the candle closes. You saw me say this morning, I said, let's just see how the daily candle closes. I don't get all spun up over the start of the London and New York session on hourly candles. If the candle is big and it closes on its low and it takes out some significant lows in the process and closes below that, then you could probably expect more down, and that could be the start of like some leg sideways to down. Right, the last time I saw it, the candle, it was a pretty long wick. It was still around its midpoint. So I just kind of see it as rangy price action, clearing the longs out for right now. And that article, we can talk about that in a little bit, but just look at the article itself, that kind of calls this.
That was the
Matrix
one about it being denied, right? Or postponed? Fake news?
Yeah, they said it would probably be denied. And the main reason that they gave was that Gary Gensler is unfriendly to crypto, and that there's 5 Democrats voting on it that are on the board. That's it. That's the only reasons they gave. It is very short. I have it pulled up if you want me to share it, Danny.
Here it is right here, right?
No, that's on Coin. They're talking about it. The article itself looks really you'll be surprised.
It's according to Matrix Port.
Yeah, I have the Matrix Port article up here. if you want me to pull it up.
Yeah, go ahead, share it.
Sorry, I lost. Here I am. Sorry. Present.
Add it, and I'll put it on the stream. Let me remove this. What else? We got some questions in here. I'm going to hold off on these questions. I'll star some of them and we'll try to circle back to these. What's up, Mark Myers? Happy belated birthday to him.
So can you see that, Danny?
Yes.
So this is the article. This is it right here. And I'm going to show you how short it is. That's it.
Yeah.
It's not much at all. And like I said, they talk about the current voting commission leadership is dominated by Democrats. SEC Gary Gensler is not embracing crypto in the U.S. These are really the only reasons they give that some of the people are Democrats and that Gary Gensler doesn't like crypto. So I don't put too much into the article. And here I'll bring up some other articles, that I've been checking out. And I tell people a really good crypto news site is Decrypt. I use that a lot to look at these things.
Yeah, Ron's rocking that MASQ merch right now.
So bearish Bitcoin ETF report spooks market, but analysts say denial is unlikely. And I know some people might be right. Well, so the headline says that, so that means you believe it. It's not that cut and dry. When it comes to reading news articles, a lot goes into it. Trying to read lots of them and get the whole picture of what's going on. And this is a story that I followed for a long time with the Bitcoin ETF. I was telling people at the low to buy Grayscale Bitcoin.
Yep. And
that was at like a $9,000 BTC value. So I've been familiar with the ETF stuff for a while. And so here's it's kind of a lot to unpack. So the thing is why this time is different. I think it's January 9th. The ARC21 shares ETF has to be approved or rejected.
Final deadline.
It has to be. Yep. Yeah. Just that one. Now, they've been saying for a little while, I don't think the SEC has officially said this, but that they're going to either approve or deny the ones that are going to be approved, like all at the same time, because they don't want one to be, it's not fair to give one the advantage over the other. But it is true that BlackRock and Fidelity, which are the biggest players, they don't have to be approved or a decision made on them until March 10th.
Yeah.
So the only thing that could happen to make it get pushed back is they reject ARC21. And then ARC21 has to get in line in March. So that is the one scenario that could happen where the ETF gets rejected in the short term and it still gets approved ultimately in a few months. But they can't kick the can down the road. They have to reject ARC21. And the fact that they have been in meetings, the SEC has been very active with these meetings with Cathie Wood and Larry Fink throughout the holidays. There's a reason, all signs are pointing to approval. The only one that was a little bit in question is Grayscale. That one was in question a little bit because of a lot of the issues with the CEO, but they have really done everything they could over the last month to 6 weeks. They fired the CEO.
Yeah, he stepped down.
Yeah, step down, fire, something like that. They did a few other things too. So that kind of lets you know Grayscale is trying to get their ducks in a row to make sure that they get approved. Because the Grayscale is kind of the wild card. Because they already have like a ton of money in their fund. Mm-hmm. They dwarf the other funds. I think the biggest fund that's trying to get approved is putting in like $200 million in seed money. And it's as low as 10 million to 200 million. And it's the common thinking is 8 to 12 that are on the table. The 8 to 12 are going to get approved. And they are going to get approved. Now, like I said, that is the one scenario. If they reject ARC21 and kick the can down the road, that could.
But then they could open themselves up to, I would think, like a lawsuit or something, buy it from ARC, right? If they, don't allow theirs, but then allow the other ones, and they're basically the same applications.
Well, I guess in that situation, I would assume that ARC would fix whatever was wrong with theirs, and then they could get in line in the approvals on March 10th. I assume that's what would happen, but that is not a very likely scenario from all the things that I've read.
And if you look at, like you said, if you look at like what's actually happening, you see things like this, right? Fidelity files registration of securities with SEC for its spot Bitcoin ETF. You see Goldman Sachs is now in talks of being authorized participant. You see the commercials are now made, right? I think I saw at least 3 commercials. SEC schedules meetings today with New York Stock Exchange, NASDAQ, and CBOE to finalize comments on spot Bitcoin ETFs. So you see all of these meetings taking place on a daily basis in a final rush to, what seems like get it through by the 9th.
Yeah, I agree. And, I know there's people out there, the news manipulation, yes, it can be, but I guess you kind of have to pick and choose what you look, and that's what I'm saying. It's different from just reading a headline and taking something out of that. And when you follow this and try to educate yourself on it for a very long period of time, that's a big difference.
Yeah, and that headline was predicated on the fact of just Gensler's distaste for crypto. But that doesn't take, but he just, they just lost, the SEC just lost that lawsuit that says that they can't deny based on, their previous, reasons, justifications.
Yeah. I mean, you saw that article. It looks like just not even that professional to me anyway.
Yeah, it's nonsense.
And the fact that there's just some Democrats up there, these politicians, that they'll like whatever puts money in their pocket. So yeah, I'm not overly worried that there's some Democrats voting on it and that Democrats are predominantly anti-crypto. That doesn't concern me too much. If it does it's just say they did reject ARC 21, then 99% it will all get approved in March. But see, you're still going to have these same bears saying the same thing. Then they're still going to say the same things. They're still going to say, "Oh, it's a trap. It got rejected the first time. Now this one's the same. This is another trap." They're like parrots. They just keep saying the same thing over and over again. And another thing, like the Bitcoin futures, the CME futures one, I've seen bears point to that, say, that happened, and then it didn't take the market up. It is not the same thing at all. That futures one, like when the Ethereum futures got approved, it only had like $10 million of inflow into it the first couple of days or something like that. It's just not the same thing. It's not. People aren't buying futures ETFs like the spot. It's just not. The interest wasn't there. I've also seen bears talk about the Coinbase IPO, that happened at the top of the market. I really don't see what that has to do with anything. But
those also happen. It depends like when this stuff happens in the cycle, right? So if the Coinbase IPO happens at the height of the Bitcoin cycle, crypto cycle, it's likely to top it out. We're not even at the halving yet.
That's what the kind of like, it's when these things happen as well. Yeah. But what was I just talking about? The Coinbase IPO. It was way overpriced for one. But I don't see the only way I can see it has anything to do with the other is lots of institutions, if they wanted exposure to crypto, like they couldn't buy Bitcoin. And so the Coinbase IPO is a way that they can get exposure. There's a misconception that all these whales and institutions are always successful and that always know what they're doing. And that's just not the case at all. They're trying to take money from each other more than they're trying to take it from us. We don't have deep enough pockets for BlackRock and Fidelity. They're trying to take it from each other. So, yeah.
And long term, the ETF story is really about legitimacy of the asset class, of, like this article says, Bitcoin reaching things like your 401k plan and pension funds, and getting a percentage of that, of all the trillions of dollars that are out there.
Yeah, I mean, these big institutions, they wouldn't be doing this if they didn't think the potential was there. Now, in a short-term basis, really anything can happen. And when people talk about sell the news, what I thought was probably more likely is that it pumps off the news of approval, and then when it starts trading, price starts to slide, I mean, if you look at the seed money that these companies, that these institutions are putting in, it's anywhere from 10 million to 200 million. And I'm not saying it's nothing. They're going to be buying, but the ETF is more bullish for Bitcoin on like a longer term basis.
Right.
They're going to buy Bitcoin for these funds. That is, and another thing is all these long-term holders, like 70% of Bitcoin is in long-term, like considered long-term. So it's like, who's selling it right now to dump the price like that?
Yeah.
But if it starts trading and they're just putting the seed money in there initially, it may not be a huge influx of money. And then once it opens up and starts trading and people are like, wow, the price isn't continuing, we get some bearish candles or something like that, then you can start seeing, some price slide.
Yeah. So we could still see volatility, obviously. And in previous cycles, we've seen, between 25 and 38% retracements prior to the halving. Do you still expect something like this?
I don't expect a sweep of the lows at this point. And the reason is it's not like the market structure isn't like it went up last time before it had the COVID crash. It was a nice, Bitcoin would level up, range, level up. It wasn't just a parabolic spike like for that COVID crash. And for people calling for a black swan, I've said this on streams before, you can't really call for a black swan, because a black swan is an unpredictable event. So it's one of those things, like if you say it every day, then I guess when it finally does happen, you pat yourself on the back and say you're right. But you can't bank on a black swan. And it's the way the market went up is why I don't see it sweeping the lows. But a 20-30% pullback, sure. But you don't know what it could go up to, so say it goes to 48K, was 8K. That's like a 20% pullback, right?
Right.
Back 40K.
25% down is into like the upper 30s still.
Yeah. And it's all, everybody likes the alts, everybody we know, we're all degens. And, if BTC does take that kind of 20 to 30% hit, alts will take a bigger one. So that's the thing. So I'm pumping my brakes on buying any alts, right? I mean, I got bags of stuff and I bought lower and things. So I'm gonna chill out just before, like, let some of this ETF stuff clear. I said I knew there would be volatility this week. I even said, I said that expect a fake ETF rejection headline to come out.
Yeah, you did say that.
And I think that this is fake. I do think that Matrix article is just whatever, but
yeah, I mean, if it was real, it would have been echoed throughout by multiple legitimate publications.
Yeah, I mean, don't just read the headline, read the article, read the sources, and then look at the counter arguments. Look at all the it's just so widespread of all these people saying 90% and reports from meetings and all these kinds of things. And just so everybody knows, doesn't think I'm some kind of permabull, I've warned about this for a while too. When you see influencers on Twitter saying, comparing it to the gold ETF, don't buy those over bullishly narratives, because it is not the same thing as the gold ETF. And the reason it's not is because, excuse me, because when the gold ETF got approved, before that, you pretty much had to buy physical gold. And wasn't the easiest thing for people to get their hands on. So basically, all these people around the world, they didn't necessarily have exposure to gold. So you're not going to see that same kind of inflow of money for Bitcoin, because if you want Bitcoin, generally speaking, you can buy it. Now it opens it up to who can't buy it now, which is the U.S. institutional market, which is great because they got the most money of anybody in the world. So it opens up that market. But, as common people, if we want Bitcoin, we can get Bitcoin. That's been the case for a while. So you don't buy those gold comparison ETFs when you see your favorite, bull influencer on Twitter, showing these charts of how gold went up something crazy or whatever. That's not going to happen for Bitcoin, not based off the ETF news.
Yeah. And shout out to Mr. MC1. He's hosting a space tonight at 7:00, celebrating VV community members on Twitter. Check that out. I'll be there after the stream. Just wanted to give him a quick plug. So let's talk about how are you positioning yourself for the cycle. What are you most bullish on alt wise? Because I think everyone here wants to talk about those alts and how to position themselves and things like that.
Well, I've said for a while, I think gaming and AI are going to be really big this cycle. I kind of feel like I had a lot of gaming bags packed from when I had bought projects like Playable Games and Games for a Living at lower prices. Everybody knows I like MCADE a lot. I think MCADE's a good value. So MCADE could go down 10 or 20% tomorrow, and it doesn't bother me. It's a value play. I tell people a lot. I don't see anything on charts saying MCADE's about to go off. I don't see that at all. But when you compare it to, it's the tokenomics for MCADE that does it for me. So when you compare it to Playable Games and Games for a Living, all these other ones, OTK, the circulating supply is pretty low, and they're going to continue to dump tokens. And that's they're not like trying to hide that. That's not a hidden thing. Like my Playable Games video, Old Bull, one of the main devs for Playable Games, he talked about, and this is before anybody knew about Playable Games. This was like a year and a half ago when he did this interview. He said that they were going to do the Gala model because it's a very powerful model for game developers because they're not always the best at marketing and the business aspects of it, and they just want to make games. So this allows them to raise the revenue to make their gaming. So that's the purpose of the token. I mean, they integrate in the game for utility and stuff like that. But the thing with MCADE is it's all in circulating supply. So if I look at Playable Games right now, just say it has a $40 million market cap, you're like, you try to project out if it hits $1 billion, how many X's is that? Because I tell people all the time, I'm looking for X's, not percent signs. So is that a 25X if Playable Games hit $1 billion? No, it's not, because they release 13.5 million tokens a day. So you have to break out a calculator and see, well, that was in 3 months or 6 months or whatever the case is. But MCADE, it's all in circulating supply. So if they have a market cap less than half of these other gaming projects, you're like, okay, well, is the quality not as good? No, the quality is as good. Was the team kind of shifty? No, the team's super dedicated. They're always doing partnerships. They're always doing all these kinds of things. So the setup is a little different. We have to pay a monthly fee on their app. But in crypto, it's a lot of smoke and mirrors, a lot of borrowing from Peter to PayPal and those kinds of things. At some point, some actual money has to come from somewhere. And a lot of these gaming projects with the node token release, they sell the nodes, and that's how they raise the money for the marketing and all those kinds of things. So MCADE, when they came out, they had a pretty high market cap. They had in bear market terms, it was like 30 million. And I don't know the story behind the IPO and stuff like that, but it seemed like they were backed by more money from the start, and then it just kind of sold off. And you still have these people that bought higher and they're selling and stuff like that. So I think it just needs to shake some of that selling off. And then when it bounces out with the rest of its competitors in the market, it's its tokenomics that is why I think it can give back such great gains. That's
right, because MCADE launched at 2 cents. So it's under its launch price right now. It launched at 2 cents, went up to 4 cents, and then sold off, jumped back up and retested that, but has been in a range just underneath that launch price.
Yeah, and it has shown some strength. Like you said, it did get back up, so it hasn't just been dormant like a dead project.
Right, it did have a little bit of a spike along with the rest of the gaming projects, and has since consolidated, as most of them have outside of really OTK. But OTK was coming from a $4 million market cap.
Yeah. And, some people were starting to get impatient with me on OTK too. When I said it was undervalued, I started getting DMs about that. Like, you sure about this OTK thing, man? Well, I'm not sure about any of it. I use a certain way of assessing these things that's worked well for me. So I can say the same way that I look at OTK or MCADE, the same way I looked at Playable Games or Games for a Living or any of these other projects I was successful on.
Yeah. And just to circle back to what you were just saying, one of the things I like about MCADE also is what you said about the tokenomics. To just touch on what you were talking about, I made these charts for a lot of coins, and this one is for Playable Games, adjusting the market cap, adjusting the circulating supply for end of 2025, which would presumably be the peak of the overall market, right? And so it's misleading to think, people say, a 10x from here for Playable Games, because it's at a $30 million market cap, would be, $300 million, right? Yeah. But it's not the same, right? You got to project out and think about the coins coming at circulating supply. So if you project out to 2025, a 10x for Playable Games back, at $1.17 billion market cap it's a 10x from current prices, a little over 6 cents. And, to get to a $4 billion market cap, say, which is similar to what Gala did, it's a 40x. All right. Now, if you look at Medicaid, and this is what, Ron was just talking about, a $4 billion market cap is over 100x because 85% of the tokens are in circulating supply. Now, maybe it doesn't get there. Maybe but maybe it cracks a billion or it doesn't, whatever. You get the point that it has the potential for more upside because less dilution.
Yeah, I like Playable because at least their tokenomics are simple. 13.5 million are released every day, cut and dry. And they release through the nodes. The more node holders that they get, the more that they get diluted through each node. Like Lit and Games for a Living, their tokenomics are really complex with all the different vesting and unlock periods. It's a little bit harder to project some of those because lots of times it tells you like general, it doesn't give you like exact dates, or you really have to search. And you'd be surprised when you hop on these like telegrams and discords and ask the projects about those. Sometimes they get really offended.
Yeah.
Sometimes, and even doing it in like a very respectful way, and the people in there just jump down your throat. What are you trying to say? This isn't a rug. I'm not saying, just asking about token unlocks, man.
Yeah, and this is Games for a Living here, and you can see that a 20x. I think it's got. I want to say, I forget offhand. Let me see if I wrote it down. 13% in circulating supply. All right, so end of 2025, a $5 billion market cap would be not only, but would be a 20x from here, 88 cents. I see well-known YouTubers talking about Games for a Living going 100x, and that would make it a $5 billion market cap because they're not thinking about dilution. And it's very misleading. And everyone should be aware of these things when you're purchasing. And I still love Games for a Living. I think it's got a great narrative. I think it's of these ecosystem plays. It's an early blue chip, I think, in the making. And so I'm buying it regardless. But in my mind, I know that, a $3 GFAL is unlikely this cycle.
Yeah. I mean, if we have another great crypto bull run and things get higher valuations than they did last time, then, hey, it's crypto. Who knows? I mean, Gala hit, I think, 25 billion last cycle.
I think Gala did 4 billion.
4 billion. I thought it was a bit more than that. I said that because I thought I heard one of the Playable Games guys say that they were expecting 25 billion because that's what Gala hit. Either way, there you go.
Maybe they're going off multipliers. Gala did the most X's ahead of Omi. Omi did like a bunch of X's last cycle from the bottom to their top. And I think it was Gala and Omi as in terms of the most multiples.
But kind of back to the original question, I thought gaming and AI are going to be the biggest, and I kind of have a lot of gaming bags packed. And I still, with DCA Medicaid at this current price, with the understanding that, it could go down 10% tomorrow. My goals for Medicaid are more like longer term. But I've been getting into more AI plays. I saw it was like late spring, early summer when I started to see a lot of gaming projects pop up. And I've been waiting for that all bear market long. And when I saw that, I started buying them and getting Playable Games for a Living and stuff like that. And I feel like that's what I've been seeing in AI over the last couple months. And I don't know that all of them will pop. Astra AI, I think that is destined to hit exchanges. We've done well on that. Palm AI, I think that's destined to hit exchanges. We've done well on that. Paladin AI,
That's new.
Yeah, that's new. And it's been volatile. I think everyone that I put it out to should be up on it now because of the recent, because it went up today. It did pretty well.
And it's got pretty big upswings and downswings because, like you said, it's new. I'm trying to find it. Here it is. This is Paladin. This is only 17 days old.
Yeah. I see my guy Cryptic in the comments asked about Or AI. So I think Or AI is good. It has been out a little longer. Just because something's been out a cycle doesn't mean it's garbage. It's just 95 out of 100 projects will have its best gains the first cycle. But I don't go all, I got Solana, I got Injective, I got Naka, they've been out of cycle. So I got ORAI. ORAI was one of my main AI plays, but that's a good point because ORAI was one of the better ones I found to invest in AI, before prices started to move up. But I wasn't really seeing like the AI projects that I wanted to see. Like I wasn't seeing what I was expecting to see from AI. And I feel like now I am. And I kind of feel like a lot of these projects coming out now, that's going to be, they're going to boom in 6 months from now or whatever the case is.
Yeah. So I guess that answers Bam's question in terms of which projects that haven't run yet.
Well,
Because
I'll throw another one out there, Danny, that I hadn't put out on Twitter. Buddy AI. And that was only like 5 days old. It's very new. Wow. But it's supposed to be a multilingual bot. So if you read their website, it sounds pretty like they're trying to do some pretty cool stuff. It is a risk. It's very new. I don't really like some of the communication on their Telegram and stuff, but it's a new project.
Yeah. And Paladin is, I want to say what you said, it's about less than a $2 million market cap still.
It's been fluctuating around like 1.7 to 2 the last 24 to 36 hours, I believe.
Yeah, and what's his name is who's that? That former soccer player has been pumping or talking about Paladin a lot. Alan Rogers.
Yeah, him, the crypto lord, talks about it. He's got like 230,000 followers. Me and him are buddies. He likes it a lot. This guy, he has a huge account. He's shilling it. So I think Paladin AI, if you got money you want to spend, Paladin AI is a good one. Like I said, for right now, I'm gonna hold put till some of this volatility from the ETF, goes over. And but I definitely got Paladin. I got Palm. I got Astra. I got all those.
Yeah, Palm has done well.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I'm a little. I don't have big positions in the AI stuff because it's a little harder for me to understand, right? Like I can understand the narratives of Games for a Living, Naka, etc. And so I understand those narratives and I get it and I can see the vision. It's a little harder for me for like Paladin, like putting a token on AI. So I have a smaller allocation there. Is there like one narrative that you feel most comfortable investing in?
Well, gaming, but like we talked about tokenomics, a lot of these AI projects, they don't have tokenomic issues. That was another thing I like about them. A lot of them have most in circulating supply. And whether they integrate the token to where it really has utility, for my kind of goals, it's not. I mean, we all know in crypto, it goes up on sentiment more than anything with the project. Yeah. And I mean, like traditional stock people, what utility does stock have, other than to make money at the end of the day? So I don't look at utility, lack of utility. I mean, I look at does something have utility? That's great. But lack of utility doesn't always necessarily mean that I would stay away from it.
Mm-hmm. Do you think so? And a lot of these people are OMI fans here. Why then for OMI is it the lack of utility such a big narrative?
Well, for one, people make it a narrative because it's so emotional and people are bickering about it on Twitter all the time. But to be fair now, in the general kind of sector that OMI is in, if you want to call it kind of, I don't know, somewhere in between gaming and NFT space, most of the tokens do have utility because it's easy to implement. I mean, they have these tokens that implement in the game for utility. So it seems pretty easy for these other projects. So it is a fair criticism. But if you look at Uniswap, that's one example I use a lot. I think it did hit a $25 billion market cap, and its only use case was governance. So, and a lot of DeFi coins, same way. They just had governance as their only use case, and they hit big billions market caps. Yeah. So utility can be overstated, but I think with OMI, it's just relative to the space that it's in that's why it can get some hit on, take some hits.
Yeah, I also think because it's second cycle now, right? On your first cycle, you're running on hopes and dreams and speculation and narrative alone. And all these projects make big promises, and they don't really have to fulfill them in that first cycle because the cycle's over by the time, right? The cycle always comes and goes. By the time you're getting into a project, a few months later, maybe the cycle's over, but then people are left holding the bag, and they're tying those promises to their bags and why they're down. And, in the second time around, I think for a project to come back strong, it's got to have stronger fundamentals. It can't run strictly on its narrative because the narrative has been run already.
Exactly. Look at Injective and Solana, two great examples. They developed through the bear market. Like Solana, like the outages and stuff that they got dinged on a lot. Supposedly their last upgrade fixed that and made them more decentralized. Like the things that they got dinged for, they tried to address and come back stronger this market. They continued development all through the bear market. Injective, same thing. So just because something's been out a market cycle, it can still do well. I had Doge. I think Doge is a good longer term, higher cap alt. It's only a matter of time before Elon Musk does something with it and tries to integrate it within Twitter and something to that effect.
What about Cock? Do you like that?
So, I mean, I think it's fine for a meme coin right now. I don't love meme coins to hold for a very long time. I've said this a few times. I don't know if I said it on your stream or not. Excuse me, guys. I'm getting over being sick a little bit. But I think meme coins will play a different role this cycle. And when it comes to meme coins, their only purpose is to make money. So they don't have any overhead. Say it's some kind of community, some big Telegram group, and some people that have some know-how make something like Pepe. Well, as they get funds and as they put it on a DEX and get some trading volume and stuff like that, the money that they receive, they can use 100% of it to make more money to just get exchange listings. So people like, how is Omi not on an exchange and Pepe's been out 2 weeks and it's on an exchange? That's why David Yu has overhead. I mean, I don't know their current plan. I'm not trying to get in a whole big thing with Omi, but just generally speaking, any project.
As an example.
Yeah, they have overhead. These meme coins don't have any overhead. Their only purpose is to make more money.
Which is also, a lot of people say, well, why can't this coin can get to like 70 billion because Doge did it or Shiba went to 40 or whatever. But they're meme coins and that's their purpose. Their sole point of existing is to pump as high as possible by a community.
And then they're going to take, if you look at a big, like a monthly chart, a SHIB, it's horrendous. It's so bad. And if you look at the valuation of BTC, it is so horrible. And that's a good thing to look at when you look at certain alts that have been out for a while. Look at their valuation to BTC. Yeah. And when it looks like trash, then that's a little bit of a red flag. You'd have been just better off holding BTC the whole time,
Yeah. This is a question. Am I holding Cock? Inu. And yeah, I am. That's my I don't put a lot of money into meme coins. I did catch it early. We were talking about it in your Telegram. We'll plug that in a little while. I think I caught it like sub 40 million. And I added a little on the way up. So I have a nice little bag of it. And I do think that $1 billion market cap is at some point programmed, considering it's the first on AVAX.
Yeah. Yeah. But for all these meme coins, my goals are not long-term. Like I was Bonk, and I did not sell the top of Bonk, but I was in Bonk real early. And I think I sold it when it got like 700-800 million market cap. So I knew that it could probably hit $1 billion, but at that point I'm up so many X's, another 20%. I just assumed take the money and put it into something else that I'm promising that I'm looking at. And as soon as it gets hot and everyone's talking about it, that's when it started to dump. But I don't think meme coins are the same top signal that they were last cycle. There's a better understanding of people and that know how to make them now and pump them and all those kinds of things. And that's validated in the fact that when Gronk ran up, people were like, oh, yep, see, and then we were just kind of coming out the lows then. People were like, oh, see, meme coins pumping, there you go, it's party's over. And that was months ago.
And Pepe came out in the bear.
Yeah, it was in the bear, but it was like when alts had a nice, like a lot of good alts still have not reached those highs that from when Pepe had the run up during that time.
Yeah, Pepe, I think Pepe get to a few billion in market cap?
I know it hit 1 billion at least.
Yeah, because it's at almost, I want to say half a billion right now. So yeah, I think you're right about maybe like 1.5.
The best.
What's crazy, people talk about, the market's overheated, alts are overheated right now. Bonk at, $1-2 billion market cap. That's not overheated. SafeMoon was at a $17 billion market cap last cycle. People forget. They think this is crazy. This is an appetizer. This is just the start of crazy. We forget what crazy is like in crypto. It's that straight line up, but like higher.
Yeah, I agree. And for anybody who says it's overheated, look at social metrics. That's what you can always point to see if things are like crazy overheated. That doesn't mean that you can't get lower prices tomorrow or some red candles can't come. But for some kind of dump to sweep the lows, I'm not seeing that. And all these bears that talk about that, when they come at you with that, just say, well, good, short it with heavy leverage to 12K then. They're not shorting it. They just talk. Misery loves company, and a lot of them were wrong, and they want to rain on your party,
Yeah, a lot of people got sidelined. I can't imagine. Like, I was buying all throughout. We were talking all throughout this whole market cycle, and we were both buying. I was scooping up Solana, $8, $10, $13, all the way up to $25. I can't imagine being sidelined.
Yeah, people
thinking
are greedy to the downside. That's what it is, right?
Yeah, greedy to the downside. Exactly right.
I didn't care about if I bought playable games and it was less the next day, because I know there's a saying, you make people make money in a bull market, people get rich in a bear market, something to that effect. And I knew that. So, I do not have any regrets for lack of buying during the blows of the bear market. I have no regrets. I was spending everything I could at those times.
Yeah, for sure. Let's get to some of these questions because people got some good questions here. So I'm going to jump around. I started them. Let me see. There was one about MCADE.
Yeah, I saw somebody asked if they have games, and yeah, they got games.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, I'm talking with somebody on the team. I'm going to do some MCADE pass giveaways, some Medicaid pass giveaways, because I can do MASQ giveaways because it's on Polygon, but sending things out that are on ETH, I just hate paying those ETH gas fees to send out for giveaways. So I'm gonna give away some Medicaid passes on Twitter over the next couple of days, hopefully.
Yeah, and they have something like 55 partnerships. So they have a bunch of game developers, on their platform. I think they need to do a better job they need to overhaul this website because that's not very evident. You know what I mean?
They changed their website a lot, it seems like.
They did, yeah. But I think it still needs work because nowhere here do I see the games you can play. You know what I'm saying? You got to you got to go into their, you have to go into this, but then it takes you to you got to go through some steps.
Yeah. And the thing about Medicaid is you do have to pay so you can do like a tourist pass, and that's good for a short time to where you can kind of sample the app. But like I said, they got to get some money from somewhere. And Russ from Medicaid, he told me they're profitable already. They're a profitable business.
Yeah, and they just recently joined Neo Tokyo, so that's bullish right here. Glad to be part of it. Hall of Fame in the making. They're part of Neo Tokyo. This is the biggest conglomerate, I guess, of gaming communities. That this was founded by Alex Becker and Elio Trades. And so it's kind of like a badge of honor, I would say, or validation that your project is viable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot to like with Medicaid, in my opinion, for sure. And
Justin's, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and I can tell you, because I know the founder. Next quarter, they're getting on bigger exchanges. That's on their roadmap, on their to-do list, and when they set out to do something, they're really trying to do it. So they're going. Exchange listings are coming. Polygon Bridge is coming. So there's some things to like coming up in the next few months with Medicaid.
And I think people get caught up in the short-term time frames and expect everything to go up right away. Sometimes you gotta be patient. and zoom out and just wait. If you see a project that is good, that you like, that you think is fundamentally strong in a hot sector, buy it, accumulate it, wait.
What I tell people is think about what a DCA buy is to you with your funds. Have a DCA buy, have a YOLO buy, like for meme coins or whatever. And when you see a project you like, do that DCA buy, and that'll get you exposure to it. You put it on your watch list, you start getting a feel for what's a good price and start watching it, and then just go from there. And Justin in the comments asked, was Medicaid circulating supply wrong on coin market cap? That 20% is staked for a while, so it's not going to be released this bull market or something to that effect. So for all intents and purposes, it's all in circulating supply. But even if it was only 80%, like coin market cap says, that would still be far superior to any other gaming project that I'm aware of.
And they're deflationary. They burn tokens.
It's deflationary as well. They burn.
Yeah, they burned 20 million tokens recently.
Yep. For I think this NFTs on the apps and stuff like that, there's a few things that they use to burn it. I don't think it's going to be a huge
right
burn. Like it's not like 20% is going to be burned in the next year or anything like that. But it's going to go, instead of inflationary, it's deflationary.
Thanks, B-Dubs, for the super. What kind of market cap are we hoping for MCADE?
I'm looking for over $1 billion. That's what I'd like to see. I can't guarantee that that's going to happen, but at least, I can show my work. The reason I'm saying these things, I'm articulating. I'm just not saying, trust me, bro, moon.
Yeah, I agree. I think so. I always start with comparables, and I go back to Gala, which I'm not pretty sure was a $4 billion market cap last cycle. And if you look at like Sandbox, Decentraland, which are metaverse plays, but that's kind of similar to the gaming industry.
Yeah,
they were 7 billion. So I'm looking at like 4 to 7 as a base for a very strong project this cycle. Considering that more money is going to flow in, that could be jacked up, like you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
So my thoughts are Medicaid is a possible, 40x. It's a possible 100x if they run on all cylinders. From here, $3 billion market cap isn't out of, wouldn't be out of the ordinary. But the thing is, even if it underwhelms from those price points and gets to even like a $500 million market cap, it would still be like 25x from where it is. And that's a bigger gain than, a 25x for games for a living would be like around a $6 billion market cap. So I do like the potential of Medicaid. And I would love a $1 billion market cap on that. Would be around a 40x from here.
I mean, Playable Games said they're expecting a $25 billion market cap. Just because they said that, just because they said that doesn't mean that it'll happen. But the interview that was said in, it wasn't manipulation. I mean, the guy really believes it.
I'm gonna go back and watch that.
Yeah, it's on my Playable Games video on YouTube. I kind of like sifted through the whole Old Bull interview and highlighted the key points where he said important stuff, and that was one of the things I put up there. It's timestamped and everything.
Yeah, so good stuff. Thanks for the super B-Dubs. Justin asked about TET. Too late to buy?
Well, it depends on what your goals are. I like TET as something that can get up in the billions.
Yes.
For the bull market. So in that regard, any price here is a good price. But anybody can just buy. Is it going to retrace? I haven't looked at that on chart. For TET, I kind of rely on Earn and his analysis for that. So I would have to see what he was saying about it right now.
Yeah, and I agree. So it's a layer one. It's a Bitcoin play, right?
Yeah, scaling solution for Bitcoin.
Scaling solution for Bitcoin. It's supposedly the world's fastest blockchain. So it's got all these narratives going for it. It's a privacy play because you can send private transactions that have no fees. It's got so many narratives. Monero went to a $10 billion market cap last cycle. And, a lot of layer ones do big market caps. It wouldn't surprise me if TET got to a $5 billion, $10 billion market cap. That wouldn't surprise me. And that would put it at offhand napkin math. I think a $5 billion market cap on TET would give it about a $300 price point, which is still more than a 10x after the run up. So the way I think about it is, if it does that, this is like buying Solana at $20, right? If that plays out.
And we know about two that are kind of similar plays to TET with smaller market caps, but people paying me for that info. So, and actually those came from Earn as well.
I think I talked about one of them already.
Yeah,
on stream.
So there's some other still lower cap plays out there that are in the kind of that general like genre.
Yeah, but the Tectum also, so they just got the staking going. There are other, I think, things that can push it. I think I just saw this today. So live TPS world record event, the Tectum blockchain testnet and LiveNet has been running a capacity of 1.3 million transactions per second for a year. By comparison, ETH does like 15. So Solana, I think, does a couple thousand. So they're going to demonstrate this on the 2nd of February. It's a world record attempt. So they're going to hype this up. I can see so much of this space is narrative driven, right? And just that narrative alone, if they set a world record in February, I can see this, becoming, doing very well. Still at about $100 million market cap. I found this in Ron's Telegram, which I'm also an advisor on. So do you want to do a quick plug for that while we're on the subject?
Yeah, sure. If anybody likes to join the Telegram up, just hit me or Danny up. And matter of fact, I'll ask Danny if he'll put the link. We have like an automated link you can onboard that way in the description of the stream. And it's user friendly for new people. And I never thought I would do like a paid group like this, but it allows me to not have to day trade. And I just spend all my time on crypto and share the alpha with everybody. It's not just me. There's really 8 people behind the scenes doing all these things. Danny being one of them. 2 other traders that are comparable to my level, that they put out really good info as well.
I had Earn on the channel last week.
Yeah. So anybody who watched him can see why I keep him as one of my right-hand people. Me and him have been trading together for a long time. We know each other really well. We know these small cap assets, we really, really do thorough deep dives on them and come up with these reports. Some people may have seen me post them on Twitter a little bit, where we read the white paper, decipher the tokenomics, get in their Telegram and Discord, ask them questions, put target projections out at like logical market caps that would make sense. Like with this, like we talked about earlier in the stream, with the circulating supply in 6 months from now, if it hit $100 million market cap, what kind of gain would that be? Also talk about the losses. If it goes down, what could you be looking at? We airdrops. We have 7 airdrop tutorials now. So you can make well more than what the emission is just off the airdrop tutorials. Kind of filter through the news to give like the relevant news stories. We really try to offer a lot for an affordable price. Has a really good community vibe in it. We try to look out for everybody and attack this thing as a team. Somebody there got scammed last night on some bullshit on Discord. We're all taking donations for him, trying to help him out, because it really is a team effort. It's a cold game out there. So we're trying to look out for each other in the group. And it keeps you from being on Twitter. Kind of our goal is you don't even have to be on Twitter in there, because Twitter's toxic. It's bad for you emotionally in this space. Yeah.
And Harish is in there. It's really a good place. I wouldn't, I'll say I wouldn't have partnered with someone or gone in with someone if I didn't believe in it and if the work wasn't good. So hit me up if you're interested. You can DM me. I'm going to drop the link also in the description. It's a very good value. It's $250, I think, for the year, all of next year. And really, so I found Tectum in there because VV Viral's in there, and he, in the chat, one of our chats, he said I like TET. I bought TET because, I like it for the same reason I like the Flash. It's the fastest. And that caught my eye because I love layer ones, right? That's why I got heavy into Solana, because I knew that Solana would be the runner-up to ETH. And so I went and read the report that was written in there by Earn. And when something hits me, like, I get a feeling about certain things and I go heavy. And I went heavy on TET that day. Sold off my ADA. I had a pretty big ADA bag that I accumulated a lot, 25 cents to 35 cents of ADA throughout the bear market. I sold my ADA. I put a big chunk into TET, and then it doubled on my live stream and I hit my head.
Yeah, that was funny.
So yeah, it's pretty dope.
And a lot of OMI holders that are in there, they re-diversified their bag into OTK a little bit. And that worked out good. We're at about a 3x on that. Muhammad, he's a great guy. He's one of the he's a real one for sure. And I appreciate the kind of words, Muhammad.
Yeah,
the rug doctor, Muhammad.
Yeah, Muhammad finds all the rugs. Here we got a super chat. Thanks, buddy. Super value in the Telegram. Really my best crypto decision so far. Yeah, and I don't like to shill things. I don't like to, I'm not that guy. But I made a list of things that people should do preparing for a bull run. And one of them is link up with people, have that network effect where you're getting information before it's out in the public. Because that first mover's advantage, finding something before, like finding Kakinu before it goes to 100 million, 200 million, finding those meme coins early on, is a big difference maker.
Yeah, because it's a team attacking these things. And we have tools as well that we pay for. Like I got the top level subscription on Morales Money, so I can stream things on chain, that things that normal people can't do. So we have some resources like that. It was something else I was going to say about it. I don't remember now off the top of my head, but we got a lot going on in there. We really are trying to make it a good community vibe and a team effort and to offer a lot for a very affordable price. We really are.
Yeah. Here we go. Apple Nerd says AVAX. Yeah, AVAX is also layer one.
Layer one.
I think AVAX is going to flip ADA this cycle.
Oh, yeah. So when there was going to be a level one blockchain to come up on Ethereum, I thought it was Solana. Then the end of the last bull market, AVAX was really coming on. I was like, it could be AVAX. I think Solana's kind of taking the top spot back, but I would put AVAX as the next one.
Yeah, I think AVAX would likely outperform Solana from here.
So AVAX is putting a lot of their stock in gaming. So if the gaming narrative gets hot and catches on, yeah, I like AVAX still to run.
Yeah. Back to some questions here.
That's our thoughts on Mint Layer. That was one of the ones we were talking about.
Yeah, Mint Layer, and I have I've talked about that in the stream. I like Mint Layer. Go ahead.
Yeah, Mint Layer is good. Yeah, that's a similar play somewhat to Tectum, with a smaller market cap.
Yeah, only a $35 million market cap on Mint Layer. Another scaling solution for Bitcoin. And I like this narrative because, again, Bitcoin's front and center, obviously with the ETF pending approval. And you got like the whole ordinals thing going on and people building on top of Bitcoin now. And so, the scaling solution is going to be necessary. And I like it. And, Stacks has run up at like a $3 billion market cap, and that's a Bitcoin layer too. And then, you look at comparables. I look at things like in terms of comparables, right? So
that's a great way to do it.
Yeah. So I looked at TET, and, TET has now bursted up to $100 million. People will then think, TET goes to 500 million, a billion, 2 billion. People look at what's the next TET. And it's like a magnet. It sucks it up because everything is relative. People look at Ethereum, see Ethereum valued at whatever it is. Let's say it was 500 billion last cycle. It's a layer one. Well, what other layer one is undervalued relative to Ethereum? Solana. Solana then takes up 20% of ETH's market cap, and so on and so forth. And that's one way to think about it. And so I look at, Stacks. I look at TET. The next one I've been looking at is Mint Layer. I bought a bunch of that. And I do think that's going to make a new all-time high if the market stays healthy. $35 million market cap at the moment. It always gives me a hard time pulling up.
I'll put out another one that's good. Good value here is AGI. It's gaming and AI narratives all in
Yeah.
one. And I like it on chart as well. I like it on chart as long as the market stays relatively healthy to pump out some good gains. I like it on chart.
AGI is a good one. I don't own this, but it's one that I would add. It's $26 million market cap. Like you said, I like that. It's a confluence of two. It's an intersection of two great narratives, gaming and AI.
I see some comments about Link, and Link is definitely blue chip alt. If you're gonna DCA a higher cap alt, Link is as good as it gets.
I think Link can do a 10x from where it's at.
I would have to look at circulating supply to see. I don't really like making long-term projections like that because I'm more a price action guy. I like to see how the candles unfold. But if you're looking at comparisons like you're talking about with other projects, I think Link can do a 10x from the price wise anyway. I don't know about token release and stuff like that, but yeah, from the current price, I think it'll do a 10x.
Yeah, I can see an $80 billion market cap.
And just like we were talking about with the last cycle, how some projects develop, and Link is not just an Oracle anymore. Then the cross chain aggregation and all these kinds of things. It's not just the same Link as it was last cycle, which was still great.
And there was something going on last cycle where the team was selling off tokens or something, putting a lot of sell pressure. I forget exactly what it is, but something was going on.
Yeah, I've seen those stories. I never really understood what was going on there. But yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. Let's go back. There was a question about MASQ, which is one that we both like a lot.
MASQ at $1 billion. Yeah, I think it will. I mean, I can't guarantee that, but I think it will. Now, I will tell you, I know the founder fairly well. We talk quite often. He's in the Telegram group also. And he is not getting listed on a central exchange is not his number one priority right now. He's a very big Web3 person. He believes in DEXs. He believes we should fight the system and not really use central exchanges too much and use DEXs and things like that. Now, he told me not to say anything, so I won't say specifically, but MASQ may be getting listed on a really cool DEX soon. So it actually had a good day today. It went up to, I think, 57 cents.
Yeah, it had a strong wick up. I think it was last night because I texted someone. It had a strong wick up. Someone must have bought a lot.
MASQ, it's all in circulating supply. It's one of those things like with MCADE. I think CoinMarketCap says 90%, but that other 10% won't be released this market cycle. So all in circulating supply. It's a usable product that you can download and use right now for a purpose, especially you're in one of these places where you get censored a lot. It's free. The token has utility within it. I'm looking at doing some things with renting some cloud storage space to earn more MASQ. It's a hustle that I may do through the group with some people. So yeah, there's a lot to like about MASQ. It's not on an essential exchange, and it won't be for the next quarter. So know that.
Yeah, and $1 billion market cap will put it at a 52x, which is quite nice.
Right. That's one reason why when I look at if I got money burning in a hole in my pocket and I'm looking to DCA something, MASQ is still an attractive option to me. And I tell people all the time, it depends on your goals. If you're trying to hit the home run for bull market gains and change your life, then yeah, MASQ and MCADE and all those are good right now. If you're going to beat yourself up because your unrealized P&L is 20 or 30% less in 2 weeks potentially, well, I can't guarantee that they won't be. But I'm going for, and the people that I talk to and try to give advice to, non-financial advice to, we're going for get out. I'm going for get out. I want to retire as many people as I can this market cycle. So we're going for that kind of money. We're not going for new car money. If you're going for new car money, then just DCA Doge and hold it. I don't know. We're going for the FU money where you don't work again.
From my perspective, so I was holding ADA, and I like ADA, and I think ADA's gonna do really well. I think it could do, good 10x, maybe 8 to 10x from where it is, and that's dope. That's great. Better than stock, right? Any stock. But if it does that, that's confirmation that we're in a golden bull run. And if that's the case, then a lot of these small alts are going to wildly outperform it. And so that's, why I shifted from ADA to TET to mint layer, because you've got the potential to, 50x, even 20x, 30x, whatever it is. And as long as you're spread out so that you're not taking on too much risk with any one alt, because anything can happen. And we've seen many things happen in crypto. Things go wrong all the time, right? And so you got to, protect yourself, but at the same time, put yourself in a position to win.
So one I see in the chat from my guy Pixel is SEI.
Yes, right?
Yes, that could be a beast of a blockchain because of the tech behind it. It's kind of like in between Ethereum and Solana. So I think it just went up some, but
3 billion, I think it's at now.
For projects that maybe you feel you missed out on, when you do get these flash crashes and dumps, that's the time DCA the COS or the SEI or Celestia. That's another one.
Yeah, Celestia is another good one.
Yeah, that's a good blockchain that'll be on its first cycle. That's got a lot of good tech behind it. So that's another one I like.
And what we were talking about earlier in terms of relative value, people are now looking for the next Solana. That's like what literally you see thumbnails about it. You see people asking, what's the next Solana? What's the next Caspa? And so one of the ones that they're looking at is Psy, which has a $1.5 billion market cap, which is bigger than the smaller ones we're talking about, but the layer ones can go up into the billions. I think ADA in its first cycle did big market cap. I forget what it was, 40 billion or something. 60.
So this is not, I honestly think that Psy could get in the top 10.
Yeah.
I think it could get in the top 10 at some point during the cycle. If I could do my large cap video again, I would have had that up there.
And like you said, I think it's a good idea. We feel like we missed out, right? If you feel like you missed out, one is you can take a small position to have some skin in the game and then buy in more on dips, or just put it on your watch list. And then this is a volatile asset class. Take advantage of the volatility. It's coming. There's going to be a good 10% dip, maybe 20% dip. Take advantage, put it on your watch list, dry powder on the side if it's something that you're interested in.
Yeah.
It goes for anything.
Yeah, if you believe that a bull run is going to come, either whether it's next year or this year or whatever the case is, then just buy. Just buy whatever you think a DCA buy is. Get that and like figure out what that is, whether it's $100, $200, $500, $50, $20, and operate that way. DCA some of these things, get exposure to them, start checking out their Telegram, and go from there.
For sure.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, we might buy some land in El Salvador and split it up between all of us.
Well, maybe Argentina.
Yeah, hey, that's something that I've recommended people to watch, the narratives down in Argentina. If that new president does something like what El Salvador did with Bitcoin, that could be huge. Because when El Salvador did that, it was on the downslide. So now if we're assuming we're going to continue on the uptrend, and a major, and Argentina is obviously a more major country than El Salvador. But that president of El Salvador, you can't really say enough good things about him or how he's turned the country around.
He's a funny guy. He was making out with his wife on New Year's Eve on stage.
The guy from Argentina, yeah.
Yeah, he's funny. I was looking for an article about MASQ. Well, not about MASQ, but about privacy tokens. Have you seen that a number of Monero delisted from Binance and from the other exchange?
Yeah, and when that happened, Kari, the founder of MASQ, he posted it in the chat. He's like, see, this is one of the reasons why I don't stress about central exchanges.
Yeah.
I see some comments about ICP and ENJ or ENJ. I think they're fine. I think so on chart right now, I think ICP looks good. Like for 100 to maybe even 500% move on chart. I like the way it looks on chart. I think a lot of people are scared off of ICP because of like the price action when it came out. It like went, that was just so ugly how it did that. And it leaves a bad taste in people's mouth.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's a legit project. The tech is great. It's been out of market cycle, but I think it could. So with something like ICP, that would be something that I would maybe target the 100 to 500% gain or something like that. Like I'm not gonna plan to hold it for the top of a bull run for six. You know what I mean? So the Medicaids, the masks, the gains for a living, those are the ones that I hold like that.
Yeah, that was one of my questions actually. How do you differentiate, or what are you holding long term, and what are you looking to ride up, and then like ladder into another one?
Yeah, and I talk about that a lot in the Telegram. I put out updates a lot. Like I'll put
Yeah,
out say some of these even AI coins that are new. You know, I'll be like, hey guys, it's at a 3x. If you're happy with that gain, know that's at a 3x now. If not, know that it could go down more because these things are volatile. You know, I try to differentiate those things where people make money as we're going along to have money for some of the other coins. Meme coins is something that I take my initial investment out a lot. I don't know if you're watching the chat over, a few days ago when I found that one on AVAX Shin. It did a 5x in like 12 hours. So something like that, you know, meme coins especially, I'm just trying to get a shorter term goal on them to use the money for the MASQ, for the new AI projects that I'm finding, to have ETH on hand. Look, if you're going to keep a lot of things in self custody, and we talk about this a lot in the group, we talk a lot about security and self custody and all those kinds of things. It's great to keep things in self custody, but it's in your custody. You need to know what that entails. You need to have your addresses saved, you know, to where you're going to send it. How are you going to sell it? What DEX are you going to use? Do you have gas for the native token that you need? You need to think about all these things. You know, we got a lot of password security things and stuff like that, and programs that you can use to help secure your computer and stuff. Because I definitely recommend keeping things in self custody, but it's a responsibility.
for sure. And you have to have ETH handy. But if you want to sell in a timely fashion, you need that. If it's on ETH, you need that ETH loaded up.
Exactly.
And yeah,
Yeah.
Justin
Think about
asked
it, man.
about veracity.
A 500 billion market cap.
Did he say 500 billion?
He might have meant million,
Yeah.
or maybe even 5 billion. So 500 billion. No, I don't see that for maybe Bitcoin, ETH, and maybe Solana. But
Yeah, I think it could 10x from here.
VRA has been one of my biggest disappointments. And if
Yeah.
I'm honest with myself, I think that I bought into the hype a little bit because VRA on my small cap video, initially I did not have VRA up there. And then I decided, you know, at the market cap, it's still kind of considered low cap. So I actually took AGI off and put VRA fairly high. And I regret it. It's one of the ones that hasn't done very well. I think there's some hype behind it. I'm not fudding it. I think it's got some things going for it, but you can't argue it's been underwhelming. It's been
I actually cut it. I had it and I actually cut it. Not because I don't think it'll perform. I think it'll perform. But I wanted more of Hello and I wanted another coin. And so and if you look at Veracity, it kind of reminds me of Omi in that it's got bag holders from last cycle who were mad at the team over communication, over a lack of movement in POV tokens that they have. They're doing something with their token migration or whatever, or they're burning supply.
yeah, they're supposed to burn a lot of it. That was one of the reasons why I put it up there. But yeah, I'm not. I consider VRA the media sector. And I feel like the media sector hasn't really done overly great to this point. Like Theta last cycle had big. A lot of people were really big, thought that was going to do really big numbers, and it just did
Theta.
okay.
Yeah.
So for media, when I diversify my bag for media, I'm like Hello is my main hold.
Yeah, we'll talk about Hello in a minute. But SoCal here, he's a member in the group. Shout out to SoCal. Also, private group member, private channel member. Did you cover Beam yet? Any thoughts on that? And he says he's enjoying the group.
No, I'll have to check that out. I said I was going to do live streams and check out coins for people. I did the first one today, but I kind of need a couple other guys with me to thoroughly check them out and do deep dives. It's kind of hard doing them by yourself on the fly, and I don't want to do a live stream, just keep people sitting there waiting while I'm searching through Morales Money or Dex Tools.
And people can recommend them beforehand.
So is Hello still a good buy? Yeah. Well, and the reason I say that, it broke through the all-time high and has flipped that and turned it into support. So, I mean, I can't see the future, but I would say, yeah, Hello's still a good buy. And for Justin said he doesn't get the Hello hype. Well, it's because it's like a show. It's like a crypto Shark Tank with a lot of big influencers. Wendy O is one of them. There's a few other big people up there. So
Altcoin Daily,
yeah, Altcoin Daily.
Mario
So,
Nawful, who's
there's
like
a lot to be excited about. The TV
huge.
show
Yeah,
give a lot. It'll have a lot of exposure. I think it's going to be on Netflix. If I'm not mistaken.
they didn't say yet. They're announcing the
Okay.
streaming service. I want to say in February.
Yeah. So I like
Yeah.
Hello overall. Like if I'm diversifying into different sectors, then I consider it media, and that I don't want to put a huge allotment towards media, but that Hello is going to be my main one. I'll probably actually start DCAing out of VRA and reallocating that to something. I won't sell it all, but I'm kind of, sometimes you got to be honest with yourself, and not being honest and sunken cost fallacy and all those kinds of things, it doesn't do you any favors.
There are so many choices and so many tokens out there. So.
Exactly. I'm not even trying to FUD VRA if it's anybody who's
right.
who likes it. I mean, look at what it's done. It's
I think
done
it'll
okay.
go up. I think it'll be all right.
I'm looking for X's, not percents.
Yeah. And Hello, I think Hello's going to break a new all-time high soon. So you got the show coming out, and I would expect it to run. If the market stays strong, I would expect it to run again and go into price discovery and break out. And I do think that Hello is something that could get. It's something that retail investors will be able to identify with and understand. And it's something that'll get eyes on it. And Altcoin Daily will be incentivized to talk about it because they're connected to it. A lot of big partnerships. And it's also a gaming play because they have Hello Arcade. So it's got a bunch of different things going for it.
A lot to like. And Jim, he's an admin in the group. He's really good about getting in these projects telegrams and talking to the devs, and he even had a conversation with the founder. So he found out a few little hidden alpha things that we liked as well about Hello.
Yeah, and the founder is like an award-winning director. He's like an industry person.
Oh, he's done a whole lot. Yeah. Hello was on my small cap video, so it's timestamp. Anybody wants to check that out, to have his little 2, 3 minute, 4 minute, thing on why I like Hello, before this run up.
Yeah, and 66% in circulating supply. I think some of it allocated for centralized exchange listings, and some of the money is put aside for that. It's not going to see overly heavy dilution compared to some others.
Right.
So I do like Hello.
Yeah, like when you talk about dilution and tokenomics, there's a lot of projects out there I like. Like a lot of people are recommending me a book by Ada, and we looked into it, and I love the project. I'm a big reader myself, and I love that. Like it's about decentralizing your ebooks. So like the point is, like, you don't own your audio books and ebooks, and it's like a project where you would own those. So if you want to sell them, and and I just like things with it. But when I look at the tokenomics and the market on books and stuff like that, I just don't think it's going to do the best gain. So some of these things, sure, I'll be a user, but maybe not an investor.
Yeah, and there are so many coins, so it's okay to like, it's okay if someone doesn't like your coin specifically. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Shout out to Ivan the Terrible, VV Viral in the house. Marcus asks, you think ETH ETF will go ahead in May if all things go as planned for Bitcoin?
I think the ETH ETF is inevitable. I don't know about dates. I had to educate myself on the date and timeline a little bit more. I don't want to speak, but I do think that the ETH ETF will happen. I mean, just the grayscale discount on it, it's not that much anymore. So that kind of lets you know the market is and what grayscale is if people don't understand it. And this kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier in the stream, that these institutions, they do not always make the right calls and moves. Like they deal with the emotions just like we do. So during the last bull market, GBTC was actually trading at a premium. It was higher than the price of Bitcoin. And what it was is like this entity Grayscale, they're like, all right, we're gonna make a trust now before it's approved, so that these institutions could have exposure to it. So if these institutions wanted Bitcoin, that was their only way to buy it. But the reason why it's at a discount when it's on the downslide, it's like the VV gems. Like it's not a one-to-one thing with Bitcoin, so they had to sell it at a discount. That's why when Bitcoin was at its low, the GBTC discount hit about 50%. So you could have been getting like GBTC for like $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 like valuation. And I did get some. My friend Eric, he got a lot. I know Dino Ford's at NFTs. He got some at those low prices. So that's kind of the deal with Grayscale. And they're kind of the dark horse in this ETF thing, because if they get approved with everybody else, they got so much more money in their fund already than even the highest seed investment is like 200 million. They're nowhere close to Grayscale. So Grayscale could come out of this thing being a monster. However, the caveat is if one of them might not get approved, the rumor was Grayscale could be one that wasn't approved, but they parted ways with the CEO. They're trying to clean, it looks like they're really trying to dot their I's and cross their T's to make sure that they get approved. Yep. But just real quick to that point, if Grayscale doesn't get approved, then watch the price of Grayscale BTC, because that will be a great buying opportunity most likely, because then it would probably get approved in the following March. So maybe sometime in if Grayscale doesn't get approved, maybe sometime in February would be a good time to buy some GBTC. From my understanding, it's like 70% that Grayscale will get approved, 90% plus for most of the rest of them, for 8 to 12. So there could be some that are left out, but the majority of them that are going to get approved should get approved all at the same time.
Tong asked about animal concerts. Any thoughts there?
I just kind of saw that recently, and I haven't looked into it. I think maybe Earn was going to look into that. Possibly, I thought I may have seen him write that in the chat. Maybe not. If not, one of us will check it out.
Yeah, super small market cap. I know Doctor of Stuff has been in this for a while. I think it's still only like a $300,000 market cap, I want to say. This is like concerts in the metaverse sort of thing.
Yeah.
I think it's only got like 1% of coins in circulating supply. Just FYI.
So I see somebody asking about VPN. I use MASQ browser sometimes, but for if I'm on an exchange, I don't, because you can't just set the country that you want to. You will be able to in the future. It'll change. Like it's kind of like Tor. It could be wherever. But I use private internet access, PIA.
Yeah, do you use it for everything, or just for when you need to like get on an exchange you don't have access to?
I normally just keep it on. Yeah, and sometimes you go to a banking website or something like that. You'll get flat. You need to turn it off. But
it's annoying. That's what thing. Yeah, and if I go into Coinbase if I need to on ramp money and then get it someplace, I get logged out of my Coinbase and it's super annoying.
So, but I've done it so long now. I remember normally to turn it off. I go on Coinbase or Robinhood. The only reason I even go on those two is if I need to get crypto to fiat the crypto into the system. And I know a lot of people use Coinbase, but Robinhood is actually a really good fiat on ramp as well. You can send USDC off on Matic or Solana, so basically for free. And the vesting time for your money to clear the bank, from what I've seen, is less than Coinbase as well.
Yeah, I never thought about using Robinhood. That's a good one.
Yep.
Let's see what else. Justin says MASQ needs to be able to change the theme color, save open tabs, and have an ad blocker. I think they do have an ad blocker, but maybe it doesn't block all the ads.
Yeah, I thought it was an ad blocker. And I guess the thing about saving tabs open, part of it is like they're supposed to be a privacy browser. So they try to think about features to help with privacy. I think the theme color, if you change to the different like tabs where like business, finance, all that, then it's a different color.
But I do love MASQ as a project and token. Good question here from Apple Nerd. You've got $10,000. What 3 projects are you buying for a long-term hold? By long-term, I'm assuming this cycle.
Yeah. So if I interpret that as things that are good value right now, not necessarily the 3 projects I like the best or whatever, just at this instant right now, what's a good value? I'm going to have to go back to MCADE. I would have said OTK before it pumped recently. Palatine AI, which I've said on the stream as well. I think that's a good value. And then
but is that like a high conviction play to hold?
Palatine AI?
Yeah.
Well, the market cap's so low still. That's the thing, that like from a value perspective, I mean, if it hits, and I think the tokenomics are pretty good on it, it can hit a 50 million, 75 million pretty easy. And that's a
25, 35, at 30x, 40x.
I mean, just yesterday it would have been like $1 million. It was just under $1 million. Yeah,
it was at $250,000 when it kicked off a couple of weeks ago.
Well, just recently it went all the way down to like 800.
Yeah. So for sure, that's the thing about those micro caps is it's got the potential for explosive gains.
So if I had to say a third one, Lit is a gaming project that's a pretty good value now.
Lit's a good project. Slept on.
Core AI is a decent project that has a decent market cap. But yeah, Lit is definitely slept on a little bit. I don't really, at least right now, I don't consider Lit like up there with games for a living and playable games. But I think that they could get there. I think that they're undervalued overall.
Sub $20 million market cap also.
Yeah. Then there's one that Earn found. That's a good one. That's in the group. Trying to think. Somebody's a Solana one. Crowny hasn't done the best, and it's been out of market cycle. But there is some things to like about Crowny. And it's just a low market cap. So they got a Shopify thing coming. It's on Solana. So there's some things to like about Crowny.
Yeah, I think Crowny might be at 2 million right now. Yeah, almost 3. And if a bunch of us in the Telegram bought this blood right here. It had a sharp sell-off because a whale sold off, brought the price crashing down to like a $1.5 million market cap. That was just last week. It's rebounded.
Some people probably definitely are down on Crowny from when we had first put it out. But I've updated, it's different times. It's not like I just put it out and then if it doesn't do well, I look the other way, like don't know what you guys are talking about. I put out updates on it and things.
It's a small market cap play that could do well. I like it also because it's in the Sol ecosystem.
Yeah, I like Solana ecosystem exactly, and I think that they'll do well. Just like how when ETH had its big run up, that the ETH coins did well. Yeah.
B-Dub says, have you DC out of Bitcoin yet, or are you still holding?
Like BTC that I bought like at 15K?
Yeah.
I'm still holding it. Yeah, I've sold a little bit here and there. Matter of fact, when we had that first big red candle on the daily a few weeks ago, I put out to everybody, I was like, this is, around 42K. This is a better way to do it. Instead of trying to catch the top and sell green candles, sell red candles. Let the green candles go up, and then when you get red candles, then start selling, and don't obsess about selling the top. Because look at all your favorite bears all cycle long. Every green candle that was printed on chart, they're like, oh, they're short. This is the top. This is the top. This is the top. Time to short. And it wasn't.
Yeah, I've DCA'd a lot out of my Bitcoin because I wanted money to put into small caps. Those have since done very well. But I plan to come back into Bitcoin. This is the way of crypto, right? You ride Bitcoin up, redistribute into alts, ride the alts up, and then eventually go back into crypto, into Bitcoin.
Yep. When you see a move, then Bitcoin is going up pretty strong and alts are staying put, that's when you want to check the BTC dominance chart. And if BTC dominance is rising, Bitcoin price is rising, alts are staying put. That's what you want to see. Just be patient about the alts. Let BTC go up and top out, and that's when maybe you want to sell the BTC and roll it into alts. Pi, I think it's good. A lot of people that I know like it. I haven't done like a deep dive in it, so I don't want to like put it up there with some of the other things that I know about. But from all accounts, it seems like a good project.
Yeah, it's good. It's an Oracle, right? It's an Oracle over like Chainlink over on Solana. And so it's come down a bit from, I think it was at a $600 million market cap, but it just recently came out. So I think it'll do well. And I think, again, when we talk about comparables and, if Link does very well and goes to whatever market cap, 60 billion or whatever, this is the Link of the Solana ecosystem. And so could do well.
Yeah. IMX and Illuvium, I had IMX as one of my bigger holds for like when they were at 50 cent, MASQ and IMX. And I just right before prices started to go up, I decided to flip my IMX and MASQ positions. And that was not the right decision. I mean, MASQ's done okay, but IMX definitely did better. And part of the reason was because they were having an unlock, and then I think they canceled it or something like that. But IMX is great. I mean, obviously it's run up a lot, so it makes it less of an attractive buy. Illuvium, I think it's good too. It's been out of cycle, so I always take that into consideration. Things that have been out of cycle, normally I won't have as big a bags of as things that are on the first cycle that I find promising.
Yeah. But Illuvium, is their game coming out? I think it's coming out soon, right?
Yeah, I'm not as up on the news with it. I think it's a pretty good project by all accounts. But yeah,
it'll do well, I'm sure.
Yeah,
I think IMX especially is a blue chipper that is a little less risky. You can feel a little safer. Won't get the same gains like you said as one of some very small caps. Get a couple more questions here, and then we'll go because I got to eat some chicken.
So I'm not familiar with that one, but any gaming project that I'm not familiar with, when somebody drops in their comments or says something to me, I try to check it out later or have one of my friends check it out if I can.
A couple people have mentioned Good Games Guilds in
Epico. That's one I'm watching now. I don't have it because it ran up. I'm kind of disappointed in myself that I wasn't on it before it ran up because I knew about Epico games anyway, and I'm watching that looking for signs of reversal. It ran up a lot recently, so I would expect a cool off period, but it's still the market cap's super low, and so Epico is one to watch.
Yeah, $1 million market cap on Epico. But all right, I think is a good place. There's a VV Twitter Spaces hosted by Mr. MC1. If you guys want to join that, celebrating people in the community. Ron, I want to thank you for jumping on for an impromptu stream, man. It was a good one, as always.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me, Danny. I always enjoy talking crypto with you for an hour and a half or whatever. We never run out of things to talk about. And then the following community is so great. I always ask good questions, put good engagement in the chat. It really is a good community vibe every time you have a stream.
Yeah, and if anyone's interested in joining Ron's Telegram, I'll drop the link in the description or just reach out to me. Thanks to everyone coming through. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe on your way out, and you'll catch me in the next one. You'll catch Ron on here again soon, I'm sure. Peace out.
Later.